to this edition of the Final Whistle, and the usual email info@lairmedia.tv, and we have a text line 083 300 2695. And good evening, Derwynne Honan.
Hey Pat, Chris, hey Joe.
Good evening, Chris.
Good evening,
Price.
folks. Good evening, everybody that could make it tonight.
Good evening, Joe Waters, and welcome again.
Good evening, everybody. Great to be here. Great to see you all.
And actually, before we start the show, we want to let anybody who's looking into later on, Rory McIlroy did not win the Masters. Despite all the headlines, I thought he did this morning. Even though I was watching last night live, I thought he had won the Masters. And I said to my, who was it? I won't say who was it. I said, did I not see the end of the Masters last night? And I check again. But anyway, we're just slagging off, really. But and of course, Ronaldo, I think anyway, he has enough money to buy a new watch, I think, as far as I was reading in the paper as well. But we're going to start off with soccer. And obviously, Everton had a win. I forget now who they beat. And,
You're loving this.
Spurs won, Brighton won, and really we don't want to be seen to be anti any team, really. We really don't, you know. And we try to not to be anti anybody on this show, you know. But it's very hard to get past the team that is a world brand. And Derwynne is a long-suffering Man United fan. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, Chris, you're a Man United fan. And I saw George Best playing in my day, I must admit. But Derwynne, really, it's not about an individual anymore, Derwynne. So it never hasn't been about an individual, or a manager, or a player anymore. It's about the whole malaise that's in the club, isn't it? It's the whole system, whatever they have in the club going on, Derwynne.
Well,
did you see the match?
Something's seriously wrong with the whole place, isn't it? You can't just single out players now. I mean, even though there's a few of them shouldn't really be in a Man United shirt, but there's something wrong somewhere, isn't there? You can't go from winning European Cups and Premier Leagues to, they look terrible. I'm really struggling. I've supported Man United all my life. 58 years worth. I am really struggling to actually watch and play. And if you watch Match of the Day highlights, and that was the highlights. I can't imagine what the lowlights were like.
Sheepers. Chris, did you see any of that match? Because obviously, there's still strangely enough, there's still a huge following for the game, for them anyway, which is surprising when you consider that they've done nothing this year.
See, I've better things to be doing my Saturday afternoon, like trying to hit a small ball across a few acres. Let's be fair. I was even listening to the Ireland AM with your man Simon Delaney, who's an avid Man United fan, and they were talking and says they're not even watching Man United. They're refusing to watch Man United. So I could just say that Sky's figures are going down the toilet because people are just refusing to watch Man United play. I can go back as far as the 70s. I went to the 77 Charity Shield, Man United, Liverpool, Kenny Dalglish's first match for Liverpool. I remember United going up. I remember the 79 FA Cup final as if it was yesterday, right? And I remember the 80s, right? They always played attacking football. Now, they may not have been the best team, but they always played attacking football, and they always tried their damned hardest. But the problem with this team is that they are damn lucky that nobody wants fourth spot, because if it was a normal year where the top four would be decent teams, United would probably be about 9th or 10th or even worse. They're just not good enough. And it's completely down to the salary, because it's basically like, to give you an example of what it's like, playing for Man United is like working for a county council, knowing that you're there for life and no one can ever get rid of you on the salary that you're on, irrespective of what performance you will ever put in. So I'm going to class Man United as the football equivalent of the civil service.
And Joe, did you get to see any of the soccer? You contrast Man United's match with the Man City Liverpool match.
Yeah. Man United Man United remind me of the two fellas talking, and they're talking. One fella's talking about his team, and he says, "Well, they're not very good," and the other fella says, "No, it's not that they're not very good; they're very not good."
Mm.
And that's what they are. I mean, it's a joke, and when you're losing to Everton, who just got beat by West Ham last week. And Everton are in dire straits, by the way, in my opinion, with the running that they've got. How you can't go there. A place that has been a guaranteed 3 points for United for as long as I can remember. And to go there and lose is just, and I'm a United fan, and I didn't even turn the match on. I refused to watch.
Yep.
Why? I refuse to watch him play, and I refuse to watch the prima donnas that they've got on the field that don't seem to think they should be putting a shift in on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday or Wednesday night. And then for Cristiano Ronaldo to react like he did after the game by grabbing some kid's phone and tossing it and breaking it. I mean, that's not Man United. Man United's never been like that. I remember a great story about when Matt Busby was the manager and Shea Brennan, the great Irish fullback, was playing for him. And Shea was playing, and there was this kid on the wing. It was his birthday, and the kid was having a great day. He was getting past Shea all day, and he scored a couple of goals. And Matt said something to Shea. Shea says, "Why didn't you just shut him down and stop him?" As for Matt, it was his birthday and he was having a good day. I couldn't. Yeah. But those, I mean, but that was the character of the club back then. I mean, now they have no personalities. Everybody thinks that they're the most important one there, it seems like to me. And there's nobody really, apart from maybe David De Gea, really, putting in a huge shift and caring about it.
Yeah, and Derwynne, did you see the Man City Liverpool match?
Yeah, I watched the Man City Liverpool game. That was, without getting too into it, that was like watching Premier League and United are in second division. That honestly, there was the thing on the radio this morning. I drove to Portsmouth this morning for a meeting, listening to TalkSport, and there was a United fan came on, and they actually kept him on TalkSport for about half an hour because he was that engaging. He went through everything. Pogba, how he got Mourinho sacked. Then he went into about, why are United bringing Ronaldo back in other than for shirt sales.
He was knowledgeable, that's why. He knew what he was talking about.
They could have done that anyway, just giving him a deal to sell shirts. They didn't have to bring him back to play. Why did they buy Johnny de Bake, is it?
Johnny de Bake. Because
he doesn't even get a game. I know Cavani's injured, but they haven't got a striker. Yet when Cavani is fit, they bring him on for 10 minutes at the end. And then you've got a guy who's an interim manager who's got no interest in staying at United, comes on after the match and turns around and says, yeah, they weren't very good. Well, hang on a minute. What do you mean they? When did it become they and not we weren't very good? I've never heard a manager say that. As in, like, they ain't very good, are they?
Yeah.
I mean, normally a manager would be saying it's we, it's us, it's...
Well, there's even talk there about this Dutch guy, Ten Hag. They're trying to talk. The Dutch guys are warning them. They're talking him out of it. There's a story coming around that RB Leipzig are knocking the door, and because what I heard today was that this guy Ten Hag, he's born in Holland but lives so close to the Dutch border that German is like a second language to him, while his English is not great. And people have been kind of saying to him, you know what? Maybe this job you don't really want. You shouldn't go for.
Did anybody watch any of the horse racing during the week?
Yes.
No.
Right. One of the races, I think it was the Friday, Ferguson had a horse running in the race, and he was in the owners' enclosure.
I
there
saw
when
that
Paul-
bit. I saw that bit. Yeah.
And one of the guys turned around and said to him, "Is it nice to be, back on Merseyside with a chance to win?" And he actually whether he was, I don't know, he's not involved anymore, really, is he? Other than he goes to the games, I guess. But he turned around and he said, "Well, at least we've got a chance of winning." And it was so derogatory about, let's face it, that was a club that, I don't want to say it made him, but it did make him, really, didn't it? He was going, he was good at Aberdeen, but United is what made his name, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you got him laughing about it at the Grand National, and you think, as a fan, you sit there and just think, how bad has it got to get before someone stops it and goes, hang on? Because I don't believe we're even going to get Europe.
It's not looking like it. It's not looking like it.
I mean, you've got
you might get
that.
In the third league. We might get into it.
Yeah,
but do they really want that? Do they really want to go playing the Andorran champions, the Luxembourg champions, and the Moldovan champions, or the team from Gibraltar that came second? Is that what they're going to go and play?
Well, that's how far they're falling.
Yeah,
I would rather finish 8th and 7th.
Yeah, well, and hope that they might well end up there. But you got to look back. And I was thinking about this, and I've thought about it a good bit for a while. Sir Alex Ferguson got out when he knew that Guardiola and Klopp were coming to England, and he knew that there was going to be changes because he actually had a meeting. I don't know if any of you read the article, but he had meetings with both Klopp and Guardiola. And Guardiola was trying to get to come to United to be the manager when he took that year off in between. And then he talked to Klopp as well. And Klopp asked him, where should my next club be? And Sir Alex Ferguson said to him, you need to make sure the next club you go to is a club that is going to be able to win things. That's the next step in your career. And I think that he saw that happening and he knew they were coming. And he said, you know what, it's time. Also, you have to look back at the United team that won the league the last time. They had lost the league the year before on goal difference to Man City. Yeah. And he went out and he got Van Persie. And Van Persie, with adding 30 goals, would add the league title to you practically automatically. Yeah. And that covered up some of the cracks for a while. And then once he left and the other guys came in, then it really started going downhill and sideways from there. And the same thing happened to Liverpool after Kenny Dalglish left. I mean, how long was it before they won a league championship? Yeah. Arsene Wenger has left Arsenal. Yeah. They haven't won a league championship since then. So it's
I'd say that
it's just,
you could see it with Liverpool and Klopp. Klopp, I think, is the reason, and I would say, and I have no inside information on this, my own opinion is, Klopp is the very reason why Salah stayed with the club. Because if Salah was with United, he'd be gone. But Klopp ensured that he stayed with him, with the club. And it's man management and Klopp and the players. You can see how unified, and the same with City. They're well managed, they're well managed.
Yeah, but you have to worry about this now, okay? Because there's a contract dispute going on in Liverpool that could just basically be this house of cards, okay? While everyone's, is applauding Salah for staying with Liverpool at the moment, he's basically holding them to ransom, saying, pay me X amount or I'm off, right? Now, you said a minute ago that if Mo Salah was at Man United, he'd have been gone. No, he wouldn't. He'd be still there, but he'd be playing terribly, because he'd be on 450,000. He'd be on the money now, or even 2 years ago, that he's begging Liverpool to pay him. And Liverpool are saying no, because if we did that, the entire fabric and structure of the club will go. And that's the problem with Man United. Man United became an auction house, that whoever came in on 150 grand, then all the other senior players had to come in at 150 grand. And then when it went to 200 grand, They're all knocking on the manager's door. Think of it this way. Think of you working in a company and you hear from X, Y, and Z that the new employee is after getting 10 grand more than you. What are you going to do? You're going to make a beeline for your boss's door. And then he's going to say, well, I can't pay you that much. So what happens then? You go and get a job. You're headhunted by another company, and they're going to say, well, and he's going to say, well, do you know what? I'm handing him a notice. But why? That 10 grand that you paid the other guy, well, this guy's after giving me 20 grand. Now, that boss is now going to give you 20 grand to stay. But what does that do? That causes friction within that company, because now this is where it's called auction politics. And that's exactly what's happened at Man United for the last 10 years. Every time they bought in a new player, he's the highest paid in the club. And that causes ructions at the rest of the club, and they all make a beeline for the manager. Then they get the increase. New guy comes in, and now we're going for the basic salary for a top player is now probably about 400 grand. Right? So if Man United go and bring in a new player next week or next season and it's now 500,000, what do you think the senior players are going to do? They're going to make a beeline for the new manager's door, because that's the way football has gone.
You know, I honestly thought when Mourinho went to United that was a really good opportunity, because I thought Mourinho was big enough to take that
all those egos.
Or no, not so much the egos. Take the I don't know, that position at United is massive, isn't it? Yeah. You know, I'm not saying it's a massive job at Man City or Liverpool, but there's a few big jobs, isn't there? And you know, you're going to say Real Madrid, Liverpool, United, Arsenal. You're talking about big clubs, aren't you?
Barcelona. Bayern Munich, they're the only ones.
Bayern Munich. But I thought Mourinho was like, we got a chance now with Mourinho in there, because I thought he's a big enough character to take that on. Too
divisive and too petty.
But they all got their knives out for him, and the story is, and I've only heard it secondhand, but again, that was Pogba driving the changing rooms in against Mourinho. Because it was like it's either us or Mourinho. Which one do you want?
That was the problem. But that's because Mourinho hadn't the balls to stand up and says, "You're gone in the next transfer window," and sell him, because they refused to sell him because of the loss that would have taken, because they couldn't. No club can afford to pay his salary, right? So if he went to United for say 80 million, and if Mourinho wanted him out and sold him for say 20 million. The board would have had a conniption over a 60 million loss. So that's why Pogba is still there, because the club cannot afford to offload him on a cut price deal to anybody else, because his salary is too big.
But there's going to come a time when all these guys have got contracts that if United aren't competing at enough level, they have freebies to get out of their contract and go.
I just explained to you what's happened. I just explained to you 5 minutes ago, Darren, what the problem is. The problem is they bring in a guy on such inflated wages just to get him, and then the other senior players are going, well, if he's getting that, I want that, and they give it to them. They give it to him. Liverpool's different. Liverpool will always start. Liverpool have always been really a club that when you join them, you will never start the following week. Joe could correct me if I'm wrong here, but I can go back to Kenny Dalglish's days and players like that, right? That when you join Liverpool, you weren't playing there for a Saturday when you joined them. You sit in the bench and you do your what they call your apprenticeship. And I remember there was players, big names, didn't start for Liverpool until 2-3 months into their career with Liverpool, because Liverpool says, no, you're here, but these guys are here first, and you have to prove to us that you can take their place. And that's what's happened. But United have gone about arse facing this one. They basically says, no, we're going to put you in first. So the guys are going, well, Jesus, no competition here. I can do what the hell I want. And that's the problem in United. There's no competition for places. They are basically ingrained. They can't be moved. They're getting too much money. They're going to do what was that play with Chelsea years ago? That Winston Bogart, this is going back 15, 20 years. He wasn't wanted with Chelsea. He was on 50,000, which was enormous money then. 50,000. He sat out his contract for 4 years. Chelsea had no other option but to pay him 50 grand a week. All he ever did was turn up training. He did nothing for 4 years. He sat at his contract, and anytime a club came in from, no, not interested. And that's football.
But the problem with United is endemic in the club. I don't know what the answers. None of us will know around this table what the answer is to.
You know the problem with it. When Sir Alex Ferguson was there, who was the general manager that was there with him?
David Gill.
David Dean.
David Gill.
David Gill. Sorry, David Gill.
David Gill would not have allowed this to happen. He would not. It was Ed Woodward coming in with nobody to stand beside him and say, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. And then they go off to bring in Mourinho, which people can have their opinion on that. But Mourinho's biggest mistake was wanting Pogba.
Yeah.
And he got him. And unfortunately for him, he got the poison chalice.
Yeah.
Because Sir Alex Ferguson had gotten rid of Pogba because he knew what he was like and what he was going to be like. He had seen him in action. And he knew that he was not going to be a good person for the club. Right?
Yeah.
So he shipped him out. Now they're bringing him back in as the most expensive player in the world. And he's just won the World Cup with France.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's the big I am. And then when he doesn't do his job and Mourinho is telling him, he turns dog on Mourinho and he turns the whole dressing room against him.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of it. Ed Woodward then came in and thought by throwing money at it, you can solve all the problems. And you really can't. And the other side to it was agents were dictating to United about who was going to come there. That's what happened. And the money started flying out the door.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
now they're wondering what's going on. And they can't, like Chris just said, they can't shift guys because of the money they're making. No one else wants to pay them that money.
They're going to have to offer him
loan.
They're going to have to offer him free transfers to get rid of these guys. They're going to have to offer free transfers, and they reckon United have spent $1 billion in the last 7 or 8 years. So they're going to have to outload maybe 500 million worth of players for nothing just to bring the wage bill down.
So United paid the same amount of money on transfers as Man City have. And look what Man City have bought and look what United are buying.
Yeah.
But the two clubs are totally different.
Yeah.
The way they're run is totally different.
Yeah.
With Guardiola and with the other two guys that came from Barcelona, I forget their names now, but those guys are all in sync.
Yeah.
And they know what they're bringing in. And they talk about who they're going to bring in. You know, you just look at the game yesterday, right? Liverpool bring on Naby Keita. A failure as a signing. City bring on Jack Grealish, Riyad Mahrez. 60, 70 million, nearly 100 million.
Yeah.
Totally different. And guys that actually are out there going playing. And it's the two clubs are night and day. City have become what United used to be.
Yeah.
Of course, we must mention Spurs. Spurs had a good 4-0 win. They look solid enough to maybe sneak into the top 4. Leeds had a good win. There's
no sneaking in there. There's no sneaking in. They are going to be in fourth position.
Yeah.
Right.
In the last 5 games that Tottenham have played, they've scored 21 goals, let in 5. The only game they lost was to United, which was a total farce for them to lose. It was totally against the run of things. And so they've turned a goal differential that was against them with Tottenham now to a plus 16 over Tottenham. Over Arsenal. And Arsenal have lost 3 out of their last 5 games. They've scored, they scored 3 goals in 7, something like that.
I think West Ham will
North London derby is going to be huge.
No, I'm looking at the table here now, lads, and Tottenham are on fourth spot with 57 points. Arsenal are next with 54, and West Ham have 51. And the West Ham have a game more played than Spurs. Arsenal have a game less than Spurs played, but don't Arsenal and Spurs play each other?
Yes, they do.
Right.
Yeah.
So the question is, I think whoever wins that match, and at the moment I would put my house on. Well, I'll put be someone else's house because my wife will only kill me. I'd be putting someone's house on Spurs because they're in form, and I think Arsenal are too inconsistent. And it looks like Conte has kind of changed it to the way he wants it played, and he is the manager that Man United should have, but Man United are damn scared of him.
Now, Chelsea had a thumping 6-0 win, so it's augurs well for because they're behind in their match against Bayern Munich.
They're through.
They're behind in their match in Bayern Munich, and they're 3-1 behind, are they? Chelsea.
Chelsea losing to Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Now, Bayern Munich, Lewandowski, well, I was surprised nobody came in for Lewandowski.
Too old.
Lewandowski.
He's just signed a what do they call it?
Pre-contract
agreement with Barcelona. He's told Bayern that he's not going to sign for them next year. He's going
That's because Bayern wanted to half his wages, sure.
Yeah, his goal was the difference, and they beat the Bayern Munich. They beat let me see, Augsburg.
Yeah, but the problem about the point you're making about Lewandowski is, I think Lewandowski is 33 years of age, right?
Yes.
Still scoring the goals, right? But let's be fair. The German league wouldn't be of the same standard as they have in England at the moment. Okay, when it comes to, there really is maybe 3 clubs in Germany that would be up to that standard, no more. Okay, because the Germans don't have the money that the English do, because their club structure is completely different. The clubs it's fan based. Nobody can have any more than 51% of the club. But the point I'm making about Lewandowski is he knows. Yeah, but England
as well.
Yeah, but the problem about Lewandowski not going to England is this, right?
Yeah.
He's going to go on a free transfer to Barcelona at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's true.
Which compensates them having to maybe fork out massive money, okay? So they'd be able to give him a decent salary knowing that they don't have to fork out a 20, 30, 40 million pound fee. So he's going on a free transfer, which would basically pay his wages. He's going to sell jerseys. That's part of the deal. Barcelona are still a basket case. They can't afford transfer fees. That's the key there.
Of course, Joe, your old club, Leicester City won. They won again. They won at last. They beat Crystal Palace 2-1. That's Leicester.
Yeah.
Norwich won. Sean Dyche was saying Burnley will go down. There's many reasons for Burnley and the team to go down, but he said one of the reasons they'll go down is lack of investment by the owners of the club. He gave an interview there and he pulled no punches. I think Sean. I like Sean Dyche actually. He's beavering away at Burnley for years and years. I don't know how they stay up, but they may stay up. I don't know. Leeds and a thumping win as well. Grimsby 0-0 with Weymouth over the weekend, Joe. And Joe, I must tell you, Fairview Rangers beat top of the table clash, beat Pike Rovers 1-0.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
So we're not taking any sides because we're very close to the two teams where I am in good result. And as Joe knows, they're not very far from each other anyway across the road. That's all they have, you know. But anyway, the final whistle is the program on nearmedia.tv. Tell all your friends about us and press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. It's free of charge, and thank you. We're in the 40th edition of the final whistle, which is a testament to the lads on the show. Very little to do with myself. The Masters was one of the big majors, the first major of the year, and Scheffler won it with 10 under. I suppose I'm not a golfing expert. 10 under seems to be a reasonable score for conditions and all of that. He's 69, 67 and 271s. McIlroy was a runner-up at -7, 73, 73, 71, and then a 64. Our own Mr. Lowry had a 73, a 68, a 73 again, and a 69 -5. So he had one. And Tiger Woods, all the cameras were on him for obvious reasons, a legend of the game. 71, 74, and a pair of 78s to finish for +13. And Seamus Power from Waterford, 74, 74, 74, and a 70. So there you go, +4. A reasonable outing, first time ever. 2 years ago, as you were saying, Chris, he was 500 or 600 in the world. It's a huge testament to Seamus Power. Number one, that he got to play in the Masters. Number two, that he got to play all 4 rounds. So, Derwynne, did you see? I don't have to ask you, did you see the Masters? I was going to ask you, which hole did you miss?
No, I watched all of it yesterday.
Oh, by the way, sorry for calling her. I backed Lowry and Scott each way. So, well, Scott, I think, finished second last. But
You know, there was a point there yesterday that was really good when Cameron Smith made birdie at 11.
yeah,
He had everything going his way. He had momentum. He was up on that tee box net first, and for him to dump it in the water at 12 was a sin. That was where he lost it there.
what do you think happens there? I mean, this is his 4th day playing that hole. And
You know, that hole is really weird. It's this.
But he's using the same set of clubs. I don't get it.
No.
Pressure.
What you don't get,
Yeah.
what people don't understand sometimes. I've been lucky enough to play Augusta a few times, and the wind comes down 11 like a wind tunnel, and then it goes down into the 12th green, and behind the 12th is like some big banks, which basically look like cliff faces, really. And the wind hits that and comes straight back at you. Now, when you stand on that tee, you can throw grass up, and on the tee, the grass, you're downwind. But when you hit that golf ball from the elevation going downwards, halfway down that hole, it suddenly turns into your face, and you don't know about it. You watch the guys tee off. They're always looking to the 11th flag because the 11th flag's the sign, right?
Yeah.
But what you don't feel is the wind hitting the back of that ridge, and then it doesn't come back up the fairway to the tee. It comes back along and hits another. That's a massive big valley down into that green.
I know that. So it's a big drop down.
So the wind hits the back cliffs, comes back, but then climbs up and goes back down 14, down 13.
It's basically like a black backsplash.
Honestly, it's like it's the swirly. It's weird. And when you know Nicholas's advice to everybody whenever they play 12 is to try and hit it in the front bunker or the back bunker, because if you can clear the front trap, you're in the middle of the green, and that green is really narrow. There's no depth to that green, and if you hit it, you watch Woods. Woods plays that hole. Whether he's winning the Masters or whether he's shooting 78, he hits that ball every year into the same spot. He hits it in the left half of the green every time. Ignore where the flag is. Go in that left half of that green. That's the widest bit, the biggest bit.
So is Cameron Smith basically the inexperience of actually going for the flag?
Yeah, I think his inexperience there of playing not golf. He's a world class
playing there.
Of playing there showed up, and the caddy, instead of the caddy going this is a hole where you make 3. You do not go for 2 at 12.
Right.
And he hit a tee shot. He either blocked that tee shot because he had too much club in his hand and was trying to hit it soft,
which you don't do.
He just didn't have it in his head to hit it in the left half of the green. Make 3, walk away. Let's get to the par 5.
Yeah.
Because he had the momentum there. All he had to do was hit the green, because the pressure would have switched straight back onto Scheffler, and he would have had that, I've got to hit the green.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was a turning point.
He would, yeah. Oh, that was one of the points. All right, that Cameron Smith, that happened. Cameron Smith. I saw all those holes last night.
I think that is the best explanation that I've ever heard concerning the 12th green in Augusta. Okay, and that's only because of somebody that's actually has played it.
The banks behind that green are like cliff faces. It's like the White Cliffs of Dover.
Okay.
They are huge because up above the left-hand side of the 12th green is another golf course up there. That's not part of Augusta. It's the Golf Club of Georgia. And, and that it overlooks Augusta. And that bank up there is enormous. It's like a cliff face. I don't know if you watched on the Saturday night, Schwartzel hit it big left, pull hooked it. And he pitched it halfway up.
I saw that one. It was,
and it came back down virtually to the left edge of the.
I saw that.
He came out of the load of trouble. He got really lucky.
He got very lucky.
That ridge is probably 50 feet high.
Wow.
And the wind comes down 11, and it's like the most perfect piece of golf course design you will ever see, because the wind comes down 11 and then comes across 12, hits the back. I call them banks, but they're not banks, and then bounces back up. But because the tee's so elevated, the wind then bounces down 13. And
Derwynne, before we leave the Masters, what do you think of? I know it's a parochial. What do you think of Lowry's performance as for the 4 rounds? Do you think he could have? Did you think he left a couple of shots behind him?
Larry, to me, is like one of the best golfers on that US tour. And for someone as talented he is with a wedge in his hand. The wedge shot he hit into 13 was the start point. And I think he did that on the Saturday. Yes. He hit a really bad wedge shot into 13.
That's right. Blamed the caddy.
He blamed the caddy, and that was him kind of. You could see that he was freaked out by that. Yeah. Because I thought he's going to pitch this into like 3 feet. Here's another one coming.
Yeah.
And he is so good with a wedge. It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
that
watching.
Golf course. No one understands is how hilly that golf course is.
It's huge.
Woods has done unbelievable. I mean, you could see every day that the limp was getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, he was shattered on the Sunday. I saw his face a few times. He looked utterly shattered to me, and it's a testament of the man that he got around 4 rounds, really.
But that golf course, to walk that golf course is hard work. To walk that golf, I wouldn't want to caddy around that golf course, humping those bags. Those bags are about they're roughly up in around the 40 kilo mark. That bag.
Oh, jeez. Joe, did you see any golf?
I did. Yeah. I think, it's kind of interesting because, we're talking about our guys being so close and what have you. But really, the last hole where Scheffler 3-putted, really, he was 12 under to all intents and purposes.
Yeah, he 4-putted 18.
Yeah. So, so it made it seem a little bit closer than it actually was, but no, I mean it was interesting to watch it. It was interesting to see the two guys chip out the final bunker and into the hole for the last one. But it was fun. It was fun to watch it. It was fun to watch Scheffler play some of the shots that he played and get in close. I watched a lot of it on Sunday.
Just a point, Derwynne, I didn't see your private jet in the hundreds and hundreds of private jets at the local airport. They showed a picture of them. All the private jets, unbelievable. It's a very small airport.
Augusta. I've flown into Augusta. Augusta is literally about 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in Augusta. Augusta is a truck stop. There is no reason to stop your car driving through the town of Augusta. There's nothing there. It's just a thoroughfare for going to to go north or south. It's nothing else other than that.
Yeah.
And then
And
during
during
the Masters, don't they line the streets on either side of that freeway with like stalls and what have you, where they're selling everything? And that's the only time.
So you've got what happens during the Masters week is everything inside Augusta is all licensed. So
Yes.
and it's not expensive. It's like $2 for a burger. It's $1 for a Coke, and they're not there to make money from any of that. They make more money out of TV than you can shake a stick at.
Absolutely.
Outside Augusta is all the fake Augusta golf shirts and head covers and stuff that people are just ripping off the logo.
So the question is, why is it then that Augusta is so exclusive? Is it because is the clientele are they from all outside of?
No one, everybody who's a member at Augusta, there's roughly about 200 members at Augusta. None of them live in Georgia, let alone local.
Really?
You probably end up with 2 or 3 who live in Atlanta. The rest of them live all around the rest of the world. I play there with 3 members, and they all live in New York. And the golf course itself is open to the members from sort of about 3-4 weeks ago, even though they're not allowed to play it because of the Masters tournament, up until about sort of late October. But during that period, you're only allowed to play it 12 times.
But I've heard that basically they close it for the summertime because it's the weather burns the grass and you can't really play it.
No, it's open. It's open. It changes colour because it's winter grass kind of, and the greens and stuff go away during the winter.
Yeah,
they get carted away. They're actually kept in a climate controlled warehouse.
Okay. But if you're a member of, did you just say, Dave, you're a member of Augusta, you can only play no more than 12 times a year?
12 times, yeah.
Wow.
Well, there you are.
It is. I'll tell you something now. The first time I played it, we played the back 9. We arrived and the guys took me down and we went in one of their planes and all the rest of it. And we stayed in the butler cabin where they actually hand out the jacket. And we played the back 9 for 9 holes. And we had the caddies and everything else. On 13, I laid up on 13 and we played Saturday morning. I laid up to virtually maybe 3 yards away from where I laid up to the night before. And I could not find my divot. I looked at the caddy and said, where were we yesterday then? Because we've got to be somewhere close. And he was like, we're about 3 yards over there. And I literally went and was like, well, where the friggin' hell's the divot gone? And he was like, he looked at me and he just said, it's Augusta. And I went, yeah, but I took a divot. I know we put it back, but where is it? And you had strange things happen at Augusta. Like, I don't know if you noticed it. The 4th, the par 3.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube. You never see worn out patches on those par 3s from the day before.
No,
Think about it.
Yeah, I saw a video.
90 guys playing. They would have all played 2 practice rounds each, and they would have all played 2 rounds each in a tournament, right?
Yeah.
When you stand on some of those par 3s, the second hole at Wentworth on the West Course, when they have the PGA Championships, they re-turf the back of that tee because there is no tee left.
Yeah.
From divots, right?
Yeah.
Look at 12, look at 4. I don't care which holes you want. Look at 16. Go and look on videos of past Masters. If you watch the first day and look at the last day, they are teeing off from the same spots, but there ain't no divots there.
No.
There's no worn out patches. And I believe, I've tried to find out, but on the 4th last night, you could actually see where they moved the tee about a yard forward, and there was what looked like a turf line 2 yards back of that tee line.
Oh, I
And
see.
so overnight they returfed the areas, and it's back to being perfect again. Because I can tell you now, you could putt on their fairways and go, these greens are quite quick.
Well, it's an education. And just before we leave golf, Derwynne, Tiger Woods has said that he will be
St Andrews.
that he's going to go to St Andrews for the Open. What do you think yourself?
I think that's great. I think he's perfect for that because it's flat as a pancake.
Yeah.
Easy to walk for him. A lot easier to walk than that thing.
Yeah.
I think you'll find that Tiger Woods being Tiger Woods, he will have some kind of fitness regime that makes that right leg stronger.
Right. Yeah. When is the Open? Is it June?
July.
Middle of July, second week in July.
Oh, he has plenty of time. The Final Whistle is the program on theirmedia.tv. And our email is info@theirmedia.tv. We've a bit of housekeeping. Do Rugby Union, of course, in the European Champions Cup. I don't. Is that what it's called? The European Champions Cup. Anyway, it used to be the whole Heineken Trophy. Also beat Toulouse away, which was a good result for Ulster. And Munster lost away to Exeter, although only by 5 points. And Leinster beat Connacht by 5 points as well. So there's the second leg and all of those to come. I don't even really see any of the rugby over the weekend. The Women's Six Nations continues. We have an interview coming up with 2 of the members of the Irish team, rugby team, but we were speaking to them today, so they're not allowed to give any interviews until it's over. Do you understand? I can understand that, So we'll be speaking to them after their last match in the Six Nations, which I think is on next weekend. So that'll be coming up later on in about a week and a half's time. But England beat Wales 58-5 in the Women's Six Nations. Ireland beat Italy 29-8, and France beat Scotland 28-6, just like the men. It's between France and England, isn't it? In the ladies, as we mentioned, we don't repeat what we mentioned with their professional teams, France and England, and so obviously it's no surprise they're going to come out on top. But at least Ireland got a win. In the World Sevens, Ireland beat Fiji for the first time ever in the World Sevens. I don't know, did you see that at all, lads, over the weekend with all the golf? Fantastic result for them. They finished 4th in the tournament, but it was just because Fiji, as you know, are experts in sevens rugby, and for the Irish Sevens to beat them, it was something else. They beat Australia as well, which was very good for the sevens team. But you can follow all that. You can look it up. Formula One as well. This chap Leclerc seems to be going well this year, lads. Is he worth the flutter? He won again. He won in Australia. That's Leclerc. Perez was second and Russell was third. Good for English drivers in Formula One, Derwynne. A lot of English drivers up there top, and Hamilton was 4th, I think, 4th as far as I know. Anyway, the Grand National was on over the weekend. 2 horses got killed, died. The first, see, he wants to come in. The first time, see, come on.
Horses, aren't you?
He wants to come in. Let me in. How dare you put me out? But
I thought that was a greyhound racing spot. No,
the 2 horses got killed. Roundtree and no, not Roundtree. What's the name? Oh God, the 2 horses. Eclair Surf and Disco
Rama.
Yeah, the 2 of them got killed, which was the first time in years, since in about 10 years, that any horse died at the Grand National. I'm not going to concentrate on that, but the way one of the horses fell, I saw the race, and the way one of the horses fell, I knew it was serious myself. Right down on top of his head he came, and that's never good. But unfortunately, that's the way it goes. But it was a great feel-good story, lads, the Grand National, with Wally Cohen winning it, the amateur rider, and retiring as well. He said he'd be retiring after his rides.
I didn't realise he'd won the Gold Cup as well.
Sam Wally Cohen, yeah. And his father was interviewed as well. He seems a bit of a character, And I don't know much about them myself, except that I was listening to them. I had the 4th horse each way. So I had a good weekend. I had 4 horse each way, Santini, 33-1. So there you go. Now, did you have any flutter on the national, Chris? No?
No, I didn't even get a chance to see the race, to be totally honest with you. I've actually met that jockey before, Sam Whaley Cohen, because in a previous incarnation, I would have met himself and his dad, who actually owned the horse, because they are great friends of the owners of the horse that came second. And he was actually inducted into the Hall of Fame in Aintree this weekend. So they would have been regular guys that have gone to Adair Manor and places like that. So yeah, he's actually a nice guy, very nice guy. And when I heard the name, because I was when one of my playing partners said to me, "Oh, the national, the result is there. We were just coming off the course," and I says, "Who's the jockey?" And he says, "Sam Whaley Combs." I says, "It's a long time since an amateur won that." I says, "How do you know he's amateur?" "Oh yeah, I just know that." Yeah,
he's a wealthy guy too, isn't he?
Unbelievably, he owns a
big
he's
dental.
a CEO of a dental practice. Has about 400 dental practices in the UK. And the old fella he's had a few different fingers in different pies, as they would say.
That's right. Just going back to rugby there, as I know you know that your man apparently Roundtree is after getting the Munster job.
Great appointment. Absolutely brilliant appointment.
A lack of ambition on Munster's part. Anyway.
No, brilliant appointment. Brilliant appointment. Why would you say that, Pat? Lack of ambition.
I'm not saying it. I was reading some of the comments across the media.
Who said that then, apart from you?
Huh?
Who said that?
I'll have to go to.
No, you see, the thing about it is you can't come into this show and make a statement without having your facts and so the point I'm making is you're saying that it's a lack of ambition. So who's actually saying it apart from you?
Let me put it this way. That's a guy who's with Munster already and feeling with them.
He's
and
not
now
head coach.
Job. I think it's ridiculous.
But sure, you just said about 3 months ago that Andy Farrell was doing a desperate job with Ireland and should be sacked.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. The World Cup is around the corner.
So if you're saying that it's a lack of ambition with Munster, I give this guy a great chance.
Joe, do you reckon the fence is swaying underneath Chris again?
Graham Roundtree's on his CV, he coached in Georgia. That's a big thing.
Yeah, but sure, what's wrong? But sure, listen, hang on a second now.
That's on his CV.
Yeah, but why not? Somebody has to start from somewhere. I mean, this guy won a World Cup with England.
Come on.
Why are you so dismissive? I mean, the guy's obviously doing a good job. The problem with Munster is not. Listen, the problem with Munster is this, right? This guy.
Roundtree will not attract any decent player to Munster.
Sure, who is attracting any decent player to Munster as it is before him?
Yeah, well, he certainly won't anyway.
Why not?
Maybe a few 37-year-olds. I don't know.
No, I mean, sure. All they're doing at the moment is attracting South Africans on 2-year deals where they can make their money and they can clock off the bath. That's what they're doing. I mean, this be fair.
Are they out of money?
Munster.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they're out of money, and that's the problem. But so that means it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. See, now you want to go down the Man City route, right? And you want to go down the Liverpool route, right? Here's the problem that Munster is that they don't operate that in Munster rugby because the money's not there. I mean, you can clearly see, right, that the last time Munster played Leinster, every time that Munster played Leinster, it's 26,000 sellout, and they charge the highest price tickets for those matches. Now, they advertised for that match 20,000, yet people would tell you there was only 15,000 there between Munster and Leinster. Now, 15,000 tickets were sold, right? Or whatever with the season tickets. People like myself were looking at it and thinking, there's no way I'm going to spend €35 with me, my wife, and my young lad, which is €105, to stand on a cold night in March when the match is on TV. And people are starting to vote with feet. It's not because of what the talent is, it's because these matches are available on TV and the money's not there anymore. People are obviously struggling in certain ways that they now have to go back to work instead of sitting at home for 2 years. Now, and petrol has gone up by a certain amount. And these are now realized, and people are now thinking, well, I'm not going to go to that match. I'm going to go to maybe the match in a month's time. And you have to remember now that the hurling championship is now starting next week, right? So people be looking at that. So you've got people making decisions. Are they going to go to the hurling or are they going to go to the rugby? They can't go to everything, right? Now, the question is this, is that Munster have lost an absolute fortune and the IRFU are not keen to bail them out. But Leinster is a different kettle of fish. The problem with Munster is that while the attendances are not there, the expenses are still there. Now, Van Gran, we all thought Rassi Erasmus was going to be a long-term appointment. Didn't work out that way. We all thought that Johan Van Gran, who was 37 when he took the job, is going to be a long-term appointment. No, he's gone to Bath, and he's taken at least 2 players with him, and one player, Damien de Hollande, is going to Japan on a long-term 4-year contract that doesn't start until next December. So when this season's over, he's going back to South Africa for 6 months because he knows that he doesn't have to put in the effort in Japan that he does here. So the point of the matter is this, right? So the question is that this guy you're dismissing, right, straight away. Why? Because Munster, they may not attract the type of player that they're going to get, but their funds that they have available won't attract them because some guys, the big names that you would like to see at Munster Rugby, are going to attract box office salaries, and Munster don't have that. That's not Graham Roundtree's fault.
True, but
Chris, you're talking there about Munster and the mess that they're in at the moment. And with Van Gran, why is he still the coach of Munster when he told him that he was going to be leaving at the end of the season? I mean, this guy, who is going to listen to him when they know he's out the door? This is the same as the Man United situation. I mean, if this was a football club and this guy said, well, I'm leaving at the end of the year, he'd have been put on gardening leave for the rest of the season, and they would have got a new coach in.
There's 2 problems with that, right? And you're right what you're saying about that. In rugby, it seems to be tradition where players and coaches tell everybody 9 months out where they're going to be at the beginning of the next season. Why? And the reason why that this guy Van Gran hasn't been given the door is 1, they would have had to pay him up his contract. 2, they would have had to get a new coach, pay him from the start, and Munster could not afford 2 salaries. Or if they get rid of his team, which could be 4 or 5 people, then they're going to bring another 4. You're talking about 10 salaries that they have to pay. They can't afford
it. Well, tonight, there's my team are playing tonight. I think Luton Town, the team I fancy to come up. I hope they'll come up. They're in the playoff.
Who's their manager these days, Pat?
Huh?
Who's their manager these days?
I have no idea.
He'll attract no one, whoever it is.
He'll
attract no one. He'll bring nothing to the club.
Is he Graham Jones? Is that the guy? Isn't he the guy that went to Stoke and then went back to Luton?
Did he?
After...
Yeah, see, Pat, I'm afraid to tell you, this guy is going to attract nobody to the club. Simple as that.
I have the Sunday Mirror outside the other table, and I have it underlined, but I'm not going to leave to go out. And my secretary,
that's just gone over his head, Derwynne, has it? Has this just gone over his head? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's gone over his head.
My secretary is busy.
I didn't even ruffle his hair. I went.
So Luton Town United on the playoff place as well, which is great.
Couldn't resist it, by the way, Derwynne.
So are we saying the Liverpool have the league won, have they?
No.
Just to wrap up.
No.
No,
it's still Man City's.
Man City's to lose.
You think so?
Absolutely. Yeah. They've got the better run in. Yeah. I think they've got the more clinical players at the right time at the right moment.
And they've got a better squad than Liverpool have got.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, especially in the midfield positions. I mean, you look at yesterday what happened. You have to bring off Jordan Henderson and you bring on Naby Keita. You know, he's been a bit of a bust for them. You know, you go across to City, and City have so many players. I mean, Gabriel Jesus that they bring on to start yesterday. How long is it since he started the game? You know, the level of talent that they've got at City is just going to, that's going to be the difference in it, I think. And, you know, you're going to find out you're going to find out Liverpool are going to qualify for the semi-final of the Champions League. And you may just find out that there is going to be a different focus for them after that happens. Because is winning the Champions League more important, or is winning the league more important? And you know, the quadruple could be off by next Saturday or Sunday, whatever day they play the semi-final.
Yeah.
And the treble could be off for City. So, but I still think that City are the favourites. I thought City should have won yesterday, other than for probably for the 10, 15 minutes of the second half when Liverpool got on the front foot right after half-time. I thought City were way superior, and really Riyad Mahrez should have buried that one with the last kick.
There was Jesus had a great opportunity to pass it square as well.
Oh yeah,
I think there was De Bruyne.
Oh yeah,
there was
De Bruyne was going mad at him,
ready to go.
Saying that
in the side net, being greedy.
So we're saying that Liverpool got a lucky draw, I suppose, against City, which really, so it's to be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and probably Spurs or Arsenal for the top four. So
Spurs, yeah. I think I don't see Spurs getting. They are just. He's got them right where he wants them right
Spurs
now.
Arsenal game is going to be good next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spurs Arsenal on the weekend.
Yeah, that's a big week. I'm not sure if Spurs don't play Liverpool on the Saturday before.
Well,
that on the running.
The weekend now, the two cup semi-finals are on next weekend coming, so that's 4 teams. There are 4 Premiership teams involved in that, so they'll be on Saturday and Sunday each day. So we look forward to that, lads. It's been a blast. The 40th edition of the Final Whistle, with sincere and fantastic thanks to Chris Price, Joe Waters, and Derwynne Honan. Until we meet again next Monday night, lads. We wanted the same hiccups again. I can tell you that.
Am I allowed to come to 41?
You got to get the 40 first. Oh no, 40.
Oh yeah, we're at the end of 40.
Just before you go, Pat. Just before you go, seeing as the hurling championship starts next week.
Oh yeah,
I would,
right.
Just before, and I know this is Derwyn's favourite subject, but I'd like to wish Limerick all the best by taking on one of the minnows in the game in Cork next week. All right, you know, go handy them, will you, Joe? You know, go handy them. I mean, don't make it so hard that they will take it out in Clare in a couple of weeks' time after that. Just tell the lads now on the Treaty City just to kind of take it easy. You know, you have to think of the game of hurling in Cork. It's on a kind of a, how would I say, it's in a balance. They're on a weaker county status here now. We might need to have to, like what they did with the priests years ago, we need to bring some missionaries into the county.
Yeah, they've played each other 122 times, Joe, Cork and Limerick. So Cork have about 80 wins. We're looking for one.
Yeah. And it sounds like some of the players at Cork were playing in those 80-odd matches years ago. So
you boys and your Irish cricket, honestly.
I tell you.
I know. We don't stand still, Derwynne. We don't stand still.
No, we chase them all, Derwynne. So until we meet again, lads, take care. Have a good week. And good health.
Take care, everybody.
See you, Chris.
See you next.
Bye.